we have been trained like, give everybody everything and do not hope for a reward from anybody. But in the business world, that's not how it works. It's not a kickback. It's not changing the way you would refer because you would have referred this anyway. This is a business model that has been around since forever. It's not unethical. It's not unusual to have people ask me in my world, like, do I have to do content? Do I have to show up on social media? What is this Dr. Una is talking about, a YouTube channel and all of that? And after they overcome that hurdle, because creating your own content, owning your own channel, whether that's YouTube, podcast, or a blog, is one of the most transformational things you can do in your business. It falls in the category of not urgent, but important. And a lot of times by the time people realize they need it, they're either really grateful they listened to me and they created it, or they're like, man, I wish I did this a long time ago, right? But after they overcome that initial hump and like, okay, fine, I think I'll do this. The next thing that comes up is, what is the point? Like, this is so much work. Where's the return on investment? Where's the ROI? And all of that. So today I am going to show you 7 ways to monetize your content. Now I'm going to say content in general because this can apply to social media as well. But really, I really want you to think of this in terms of your own HQ, which would be your own headquarters, which would be a YouTube channel, a podcast, or a blog. Okay. Can this create opportunities with social media? Absolutely. We literally just had a doctor in the EntreMD business school come in and say, a company reached out and paid me 5 figures to create 3 60-second videos. I want you to think about that. And they did that based on her performance on Instagram. And she does not have a gazillion followers. She doesn't have any of that stuff, but this stuff works and it opens doors you won't know about. But anyway, now to start off, one of the people that, I follow on YouTube, his name is Myron. And, he runs an 8-figure business. Okay. So what he does with YouTube is not a very significant part of his business portfolio, but he does it. Right. And so he started going in, all in on YouTube, all in on the content strategy. And I remember what I said, this is an 8-figure entrepreneur. So what do? We look at the things that the ultra successful do. We ask why they're doing it. And then we do it too. Right. If we want the same outcome. So anyway, he talks about one of his YouTube channels. I think he has 3 of them at this point, but one of them generates as much as $40,000 per month in revenue, right? Now, this is direct ad revenue. This does not include the number of people who sign up for his program because of his YouTube, does not include the number of people who buy his books. It doesn't include any of that stuff. This is just pure ad revenue. Why am I telling you this? Am I telling you you're going to create $40,000 every month? Probably not. I'm just trying to show you the potential. For those of you listening to this on a podcast, well, this podcast, the EntreMD podcast, I've really enjoyed recording every single episode of it. We're almost at 500 episodes, if you could think about it, which is really crazy. In 6 months, we will hit our 6th year of podcasting. It has led to the transformation of the personal lives and businesses of thousands of physicians. It's just been such a phenomenal journey. It has also created millions of dollars for me in revenue. And because it is a full-time employee in my business, it gives me the opportunity to talk to people whenever they want to talk to me. It gives the opportunity for them to go back like, hey, Dr. Una, this thing you said, can you say it again? Right? And I'm talking to them again. It doesn't have an attitude. It shows up for work every day, right? And it doesn't matter how many people want to listen to it. It can still deliver, right? It's a scalable employee. And whenever I ask people who are in the school, when I interview them, when I'm listening to their stories, it's usually some version of, I found Dr. Una, I started binging on her podcast. And after, some people it's the next day, some people it's a few months, some people it's a year, some people it's a few years, which if it's going to be a few years for you, let's just shorten it, right? Like if you're thinking about the EntreMD business school and you're like, man, I think that's where I want to be, come join us. Because every last person who's joined has said, man, I wish I did it sooner. I'm just letting you know. But anyway, and so this has created millions and millions in revenue for me. So it's given me an opportunity to serve at a very high level, and it's given me an opportunity to earn. Okay. So I'm saying that to say, can you monetize your content? Yes, it's a business asset. You can even think about it as a vertical in your business, right? But I'm going to show you 7 ways. Okay. 7 ways that you can do this. Now, it's very clear you don't have to do all 7. You can start with 1. You can start with one that you can probably start leveraging right now or optimizing. Maybe you already do it in a way, but you can optimize it starting right now. You can decide, over the next 5 years, I'm going to build out all 7, right? So it's not about doing all 7. It's about starting. It's about taking it to the next level. Okay. All right. So the very first way you can monetize your content, right? So let's say your YouTube channel, your podcast, podcast is by offering your services. So it's through your services, right? This happens to be my favorite one for service-based businesses. And so let's say you're a coach, you are a private practice owner, you host events, or you're a consultant, any of those kind of things. Your platform is a beautiful place for you to promote your own stuff, right? And so what does that look like? Now, remember on the previous episodes, if you haven't listened to them, you know what, you want to go listen to them. Actually, the one right before this, we talked about how to recession proof your business with certain types of content. I give you three kinds of content you can use. And one of them is that it really needs to be relevant, right? It needs to be relevant. It needs to speak to the problems people are having in real time. And so you create this podcast or this YouTube channel, this blog where you're solving real problems that your audience has, your potential clients, your potential patients have. You're solving it in real time, and then you're making them offers, right? If this is helpful, come work with me here. Come work with me, as your coach. Come work with me in my private practice. And you're doing that every single time. Like you're making some kind of offer, right? Because when you do that, then you're giving people opportunity to say, which is what happens with me. People are like, oh my goodness, if I could get all this stuff, all this happen from the free stuff, what will actually happen if I worked with this person, right? Because now you've created all this credibility because they know you're the person for the job because you've been doing the job, right? So that's the very first one. And when I talk about, monetizing your content, it can easily be a 7-figure vertical, right? And so let's do some math here. So let's say that you are a coach and you have a program, and your program, you charge $10,000 for the year. If over the course of a year, your podcast or your YouTube channel gave you 100 clients, that is $1 million in revenue, right? And so we're talking about 8 clients a month. Could it do that? Yes. You're like, well, Dr. Una, I don't know. Okay, fine. What if it gives you 4? That's $500,000. That is nothing to sneeze at. What if it gives you 2? That's $250,000. That's nothing to sneeze at, right? So see what I'm saying? Like, and you're already going to be creating this content anyway. Right? And so we're just going to put in a few things to monetize it. Okay. So let's say that you are a DPC doc. Okay. You have a direct primary care practice and your enrollment is $100 a month or $1,000 a year. Okay. And so for each client that you get, right, that's 1,000 for the year. And that means if you get 1,000 clients, right, then that's $1 million. You're like, I can't get that number. Okay. You get 500. That's $500,000, right? You get 250. That's 250,000. Like just think about it that way. Right. And so it can it be a 7-figure vertical? Yeah, it absolutely can. And it has been for many people. Okay. So number 1 is your services. Number 2 is products. Okay. I was listening to Patrick Bet-David. He was talking about this on his YouTube channel, and he, the year before I was listening to whatever video that was, the prior year, they had sold 72,000 products from their merch store. Okay. So products we're talking about, it could be mugs, it could be mouse pads, it could be t-shirts, it could be hoodies, it could be like all kinds of stuff, right? It could be books, and they had done 72,000 units. Right? Like, so if you do math like me, feel like on average, if that is $10, which is usually higher, if that's $10, that's $720,000. On average is $50. Now we're talking, we're talking the millions, right? So, and again, if you're building the audience, you already have the watch hours, and I'll talk about watch hours in a bit, and all of these things, you might as well monetize it, right? For instance, I have a lot of quotable quotes and all of those things. And you guys know I made my daughter, I made her the director, if you will, of the EntreMD merch division. And she created all these t-shirts with, like frogs all day, every day. There's no imagination police, progress over perfection, all of these things that we say all the time. And she just made those into t-shirts, into hoodies, into, mouse pads, tote bags, all of these things. And we sell them on our store, right? Now she goes live every week in our Facebook group to promote them, but she could easily be doing that on a YouTube channel, doing that on a podcast. Okay. Now we'd really love for you to go check out the merch store. It's entremd.com/merch. You can check it out. It'll make her super happy. You should get some orders in and all of that stuff. Right. Okay. So number 1 is services. Number 2, your products. Okay. And again, you can easily set that up. Number 3 would be sponsors. Okay. Now, before I tell you about this one, I need to tell you a little bit of a story, okay? So I was listening to Alex Hormozi interview Dave Ramsey. he was interviewing him about his business, and they actually went into numbers. So Dave Ramsey talks a lot about personal finance and stuff for others, but rarely has the opportunity to talk as much about his business. It was very interesting. I was like, oh, great. I get to see behind the scenes of his business and all of this stuff. And so while I'm listening to it, there's this segment that made, like, I saw it and I couldn't unsee it. So in his business, the year before Alex Hormozi, I was about to say Dr. Alex Hormozi, before he interviewed him, they had done 300 million in revenue. So let that sink for a little bit. 300 million. Okay. And I was like, wow, like that's impressive. I'm like, okay, he has all these streams. I wonder where most of the revenue came from. And during the interview, he then says that 40% of his revenue comes from vendors who advertise, to his audience, advertise on his, like on his website and all those things. So that they preferred vendors. And I was like, wait, what? I was like, 40%? That's nuts. Right? So I think that comes to about 120 million from vendors, right? AKA for you, from sponsors, right? And so are you going to do 40% of 300 million? Maybe you're not going to, right? That's 120 million. Maybe you're not. But what if you did 120,000? What if you did 1 million? What if you did 50,000? Right? But you're not going to do it except you start doing it. So anyway, sponsors. And so that could be people who, they want to talk to your audience. They offer something that's different from what you offer. And then they just pay you for a spot. They can pay you directly to have that ad played on your YouTube channel or your podcast or anything like that. You're not doing it. They're doing it, right? Like they just have an ad spot. So that's something that you can look into. The fourth way is through affiliates. Now, with affiliates, what that really is, think of it this way. There are a number of things that I use. So let's say that there's a service that I use. So I use Buzzsprout for my podcast. That's my podcast host. And I've used it, for almost 6 years. And I've used it for every podcast that I have, right? And so it's something I already use. It's something I already refer, like I just told you about Buzzsprout, and I talk about them a lot. But for Buzzsprout, they have an affiliate program where for anybody who's referred by me, they would give me $20 and they would give that person $20. They call it their refer a friend program, right? And so an affiliate is kind of that way where I can recommend stuff that I do anyway, and then I get a commission. Right? Now, of course, we're going to do this in integrity. Like I wouldn't come and necessarily be an affiliate for something I don't believe in or I wouldn't use or my clients haven't used or anything like that. But this is a whole model. And there are people who run multiple 6-figure businesses, multiple 7-figure businesses, and it's the affiliate model. Now, let me say this because we're doctors and we have all the, what are the kickback rules and all of that? Okay. So kickback stuff is what we do in medicine. It is a valid model in the business world. Okay. So it's not a kickback. Like sometimes, so what if it's not a kickback? Right? So I'm already talking about Buzzsprout a bunch, then they might as well reward me, right? For what I say. So anyway, so affiliates, right? Okay. So that's one. If you have a lot of stuff you use on Amazon anyway and stuff, you can create a storefront on Amazon and put all those things there. And when you recommend them, you can say, hey, you can go to my storefront, my Amazon store and grab them. I get a commission, but it doesn't change the price to you. And people can then purchase it from there and Amazon will give you a fee, right? Again, if you're going to do it anyway, then you might as well do it. Okay. So that's number 4. Number 5 is speaking. And yes, this could have been under services, but I like to put it separately because of the power of it. If you are somebody who, for instance, you have a YouTube channel, they see you speaking on a virtual stage, right? A virtual solo stage. And like, okay, this person, they really know their stuff. They're really good at their content. They present really well. Let's invite this person to come be a speaker at our conference. Speaking opens opportunities for speaking. Okay. And then when you have that opportunity, there are 2 ways you can get paid. You can either get paid to speak or you can get paid because you offered your services on the stage where you went to speak. So let me use myself as an example. If I go to an event to speak, they may say, Dr. Una, come speak at this event. We'll pay you $10,000. That's the keynote model. I'm paid. I do my thing and I leave. Or they can give me an opportunity to make an offer from the stage. And so I can speak and then say I can talk about the profitable. So let me say I'm talking to a group of, 500 private practice owners, and I talk about, 7 ways doctors leave money on the table and how to fix it. And then on the back end of it, I say, hey, I have this, we launched because of the amount of, stress and failures that we're seeing within the private practice space. We launched the profitable private practice movement. It's a movement of people who have decided they're going to defy the status quo, and they're going to build profitable private practices without sacrificing their families or their fitness and all of those things. And you can join us this moment for less than a cappuccino a day, right? Because the movement is $197 a month. You can join for less than a cappuccino a day and, go right here, EntreMD.com/movement and sign up for it. And for everybody who signs up before this talk is over, you will get a bonus of XYZ. Now, I could have, 300 people sign up for it. So it's $2,000 a year. If 300 people sign up for it, that's 600,000. Do you see? And so that's a lot more than if I was paid as a keynote. So there are 2 ways you can get paid, but either way, your YouTube channel or your podcast, your blog opens the door for these opportunities. Okay. All right. So that's speaking. Number 6 is brand deals. Now, brand deals is kind of like sponsorships, but it's a little different because you're like the brand ambassador for it and you talk about it. Maybe you make a deal with them that once a month you will create this video. It could be 60 seconds long. It could actually be a short, or it could be an ad within your podcast, but you're promoting it. You're telling your story of how you used it and how it changed your business or change your life or whatever. And then they pay you for that. You can be paid really well for this. We had a doctor in the EntreMD business school that in less than 90 days had already been paid 6 figures for his brand deals. So these are things that work. And again, we have been trained like, give everybody everything and do not hope for a reward from anybody. But in the business world, that's not how it works. So please don't look at this as a kickback. It's not a kickback. It's not changing the way you would refer, because you would have referred this anyway. This is a business model that has been around since forever. It's not unethical. Okay. Number 7, and I put this as number 7 because it's the icing on the cake. And I would really love for you to see it as icing on the cake. And that is your ad revenue. Okay. So this is more so for YouTube. So for YouTube, if you have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours within a 12-month period, then they will pay you for ads, right? They will pay you. So they put ads. I think you get 55% of whatever ad revenue comes in and they keep the rest and something like that. But you can make a significant amount of revenue. So when I was talking about Myron earlier, Myron does like $40,000 a year. And this was, I think these are last year's numbers. So it's probably higher by now. They do that much. There's a lady, I was watching her stuff and, she had one video that did 1 million views and she got paid $45,000 for that one video, right? And has nothing to do with the fact that video makes her other videos do well. So they create more ad revenue and all of those things. There are many, many, many people who do at least 6 figures in ad revenue every single year. And so this is something to consider. Now, with the ad revenue and many of the other models, right? What you must understand is because this is a vertical that can create 5, 6, 7, multiple 7 figures in revenue for you, like your HQ, right? Your podcast, YouTube, or blog, because it can do that, then you want to really be strategic about it, right? You want to be strategic about talking to a certain group of people. You want to be strategic about solving their problems so they come back and they tell other people to come back. You want to do it in such a way that it's bingeable, like people come and listen to one and it's over and over and again. I had somebody listen, we interviewed her, Dr. Oluyemisi, on the, when we were doing a live workshop, and she made a statement that made me go like, wow, like I've known this stuff, but she's like, I was struggling in private practice. I saw this other person who said, I just launched my private practice. I'm cash pay. I've been profitable, from day one. And she's like, who is this person? Like, how you, and then she mentioned that she had a coach that she worked with that made it possible and all of those things. And she reached out to her like, who is this person? Right. And she says, is Dr. Una. It was funny. She's like, Dr. Una. She's like, like Dr. Una, the Nigerian? Because she's Nigerian too. And she's like, yes, I don't know about Nigerians, right? But anyway, then she finds the podcast and she starts listening to it. And she says, I listened to that podcast for almost 72 hours straight. Like, of course, I'm sure she slept and did all the other things, but 72 hours straight. So the question becomes, if somebody wants to listen to you 72 hours straight, do you have stuff for them to do that with? You have to have stuff to do with that with. Now, she's been a doctor in the EntreMD business school. I think she might be going on her 4th year. right? She's been in the EntreMD Business School for 4 years and she's been killing it. So many amazing things have happened. Revenue is so much better. She got accredited by JACO. She has the mayor coming out for her open house. Has celebrities as patients, like all kinds of amazing things happening. So many wins. And then, right. And then we've had a client that we've had for a long time, right? So you want to create stuff that's relevant, that's bingeable, that's shareable, that people want to say, oh my goodness, this changed me. Go listen to this. And while you're at it, I'll say, if this has been good for you, then please share it, right? Because we want doctors to understand you can have these platforms, you can have these HQs and you can crush it, right? Whether you're employed or not, it doesn't matter. Like this is available to everyone. Anyway, you want to have that and you want it to be growing. You want your audience growing. Why? Because it's the audience that puts you in a position to monetize, right? To monetize in these different ways that I've spoken. So what I want you to do, right? Like what I want you to do with this, I want you to think, what if this could be a 7-figure vertical for me? If it would be a 7-figure vertical for me, how would I treat it differently? And I want you to start doing that immediately. I want you to no longer see YouTube, podcast, blog as a chore. I don't want you to see it as something that, oh my goodness, I have to do this. I want you to see it as something you get to do. I want you to say, oh my goodness, like back in the day, could I have my own TV station? Absolutely not. But now I can have my own TV station because that's what this is. You can have your own TV station, you can have your own radio station, you can have your own newspaper company and all of that stuff. And well, maybe I shouldn't use newspaper, right? Because it's almost extinct, but my magazine company, right? And all of that stuff. But you can have that. You can have that, but it's just the intentionality to start building it. So if it could be 7 figures, what would you do? Would you start it? Would you relaunch it? Would you start telling people about it? Would you be more intentional about your content? What would you do? Whatever that is, start doing that now, because this is the deal. I would love for, 30, 60, 90, 365 days from now, you're like, Dr. Una, YouTube changed my life. And I never would have thought about it if you didn't do that podcast episode. Okay. I want to see physicians everywhere win, because this is the deal. This is the year of the physician. At the time of this recording, it's 2025. This is the year of the physician. What that means for you is that this is your opportunity to experience 5 freedoms, no matter what is happening anywhere else and no matter what's happened in the past. The freedom to practice medicine on your terms, the freedom to live life on your terms, the freedom to your time freedom, financial freedom, and the freedom to pursue your purpose and do exactly what you feel you're on God's green earth to do. Okay. All right. So rooting for you. Absolutely. Go take action on this. Go share this with another doctor. And I will see you on the next episode of the EntreMD podcast.